Are we ready? Because Richard's over here like.
It is 7 o'clock?
It is 7 o'clock. He's over here. I mean, yeah, he's over here like, come on, get with it. 7 o'clock. This meeting of the Willamina School Board is now called to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up on the agenda. Oh, speaking of, David, would you be able to get that to Roy? Get the bag, the gift bag at the end?
Yeah, I can give it to him.
Or you can give it to your wife, I mean.
I'll give it.
Thank you. First up on our agenda, Board of Education. Step. Yellow. Sheet. You don't have a yellow sheet? It's like first in line. Oh, it's just not yellow. Oh, yours not yellow.
Looking for it.
It's been a long week, okay?
I hear you.
Go for it.
Okay. I move to approve the hire/contract of Michael Gass as the next superintendent of the Willamina School District, effective July 1st, 2024, on a 2-year contract.
Second.
The motion to approve the hire/contract of Michael Gass as the next superintendent of the Willamina School District, effective July 1st, 2024, on a 2-year contract, has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments for board discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the hire/contract of Michael Gass as the next superintendent of the Willamina School District, effective July 1st, 2024, on a 2-year contract, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by nay. Motion is passed.
I'm really
See, I don't know why you're getting, I'm testing you with that new certification.
I did
Yeah.
not pass.
Figure a doctor could figure it out.
Wow. You're kind of being discriminated against. You should file a complaint, a grievance with the board.
I move to appoint Alicia Parks Shell to fill the Budget Committee position with an expiration date of June 30th, 2027.
Second.
The motion to appoint Alicia Parks-Shell to fill the Budget Committee position with an expiration date of June 30th, 2027 has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments for board discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of appointing Alicia Parks-Shell to fill the Budget Committee position with an expiration date of June 30th, 2027 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion is passed.
She has an MBA. I didn't know that.
Whoa.
That's pretty cool. For the
This isn't anything to vote on. This is just a reminder, if you haven't completed your statement of economic interest, to get that filed to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. It's due by April 15th.
Next on our agenda is our consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion, both of them
Both of them
did.
did, okay.
You guys like one on the count of 3 down there?
Yeah.
Cool. The motion to approve the consent agenda as presented has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments for board discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion is passed. Next on our agenda is our superintendent's report.
Okay. We have posted an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications
to construct a pre-engineered metal building down at the track. It was part of our long-range plan was to add another covered play area. So this will provide space down there for extra PE class or PE classes, track practice, baseball practice. Well, baseball doesn't really need it because we have a field house now, but when inclement weather and we need to be outdoors, great recess space for if all elementary kids need to be outside. So it's very similar to the one we have. We wrote the request for qualifications for a 75 by 125 foot building with 14-foot eaves. It'll be covered on two sides, similar to what we had, but we are going to have electricity, water for a drinking fountain, and a storage space for equipment that can be locked.
Where will it be?
It will be where the old high jump pit was, so it'll be
Oh.
down at the track. So it'll be great access for any of, all K-12 would have immediate access to it. It'll be great for elementary kids, but also for youth sports. You know, oftentimes we need more basketball courts, we need spaces, and if it's raining and they need to practice for softball, that can get really crowded quickly. So having an alternative space in inclement weather for kids to continue to be outside and get some fresh air and physical activity. Originally it was for thinking about middle school, because middle school and high school have lunch hours at a similar time, and having just the high school gym and the middle school gym sometimes is not enough space for kids to actually be physically active. It's a space where they can gather, but it's hard for them to do anything active during that time in those spaces. So again, it's a space where we can separate kids and just have, and so it's going to be pre-engineered. We're just looking for someone that has the skill set to erect it. We are continuing to discuss the long-range facility plan and facility assessment process. Actually, the Bassetti architect firm we are not going to be going with. We found out they are not certified through Oregon Department of Ed. For us to access those that technical assessment program funds, they have to be certified. So I've already, I don't know if you're familiar with Jacob Warren. He lives in the area, and he put me in contact with a gentleman that's from Portland that is on the approved list. And I met him briefly when we were doing the middle school expansion. So we're working with his company now because he is certified, and it looks like he would be able to get it all completed before the start of the new school year and get those assessments done. We also qualified for the seismic grant assessment in addition to the facility assessment and the long-range plan. So we've got 3 different grants coming in to do facility assessments. But in order to receive those awesome funds, they wanted us to update our current facility assessment and long-range plan, because they with grace, they allowed us to use the outdated one because it was only a year outdated. But with the condition we would get this done ASAP. We've also engaged with Cobar LLC to do engineering design on our back parking lot for preparation for paving that student parking area. We needed to really address the water, the runoff with that before we could ever get to paving it. So he's created a plan for the water runoff, and with the thought of adding more roof line or roof space to our existing high school. It looks like we may need to put in a catchment pond on the backside of the baseball field down there to account for that. But I will provide a copy of that report when it comes in. Finances, I put in the most recent district estimate for state school funding. This is just state school funding, which accounts for the majority of our state revenue. It does not include any of our federal revenue. In addition, we have our estimated funds within another ODE website. It's called the Electronic Grant Management System, which lets us know what our Title I, Title II, Title IV, and Title VI funds will be, food services funds, our IDEA, which is our Individual Disability Education Act funds, special ed, and other miscellaneous grants. I didn't put in my first stab at budget projections for 24-25, looking at a total proposed revenue of 21 million. And I know if you look at the actual amount from 22-23, like, well, where did $3 million go? But that included the ESSER funds that no longer exist. Typically, like right now, we have applications out for almost $1 million, which if we're successful, they're not included in this because we won't put that in until we know for sure. But there's always changes, usually for the positive, because grants trickle in that we apply for throughout the year. We also have made a estimate on our requirements by object, and then our revenue for general funds and our expenditures of the general fund. And we are looking at projecting an end fund balance of approximately $1.5 million in that estimated budget. Summer learning funds, that was one of the discussions we had at our district leadership team meeting tonight. That was a really quick grant. It came out last week. The list of prioritized schools, Willamina was one. We have $199,000 dedicated for summer learning funds. Applications are due April 15th. I attended the last two webinars that they kind of spell out what is required as far as programming and then allowable uses of funds. We have to put together a plan, not necessarily a budget, just they want your plans for what programs you're going to offer. The basic requirement is that you have to offer at least one program that includes up to 80 hours of services for a cohort of students, but you can have other programs that don't necessarily require the 80-hour piece. So some of the things we are tossing around and we will drill down with a more specific plan, but is certainly offering a 6-week summer program to address academic skills, and then credit recovery for high school students. We're going to have some transitional programs for our incoming kindergartners, incoming 6th graders, and incoming 9th graders. These funds also allow us to do some paid internships for juniors and seniors with community partners. So we will be looking at partnering with the tribe, with the city, with the public library, and the school district to provide some paid job opportunities for students. A lot of other great suggestions coming in from staff, including some leadership camp opportunities for middle school and high school students. Our music teacher wants to offer a band camp. I will give you more information as we get closer to that. Well, it'll be here. The applications due April 15th. We don't have to be super specific about every plan. We just have to be able to give information on at least 3 plans and exact hours that students will receive services and what type of skills will be targeting. We have to address academic gains. We have to address enrichment activities. We have to provide low barriers, so they really look at providing food, transportation, and then opportunities for families to be engaged. Ensure reaching out for if a staff member has a specific students that they feel would critically need summer school to make the gains necessary, that we're reaching out to those families to ensure that their student can participate. What else? We've updated the last of the policies, so Section K, which is community, and your policy summaries are complete. Partnering with ODE to review support for behavior and mental health at the school level. This is a voluntary project. They will be coming in and doing a report on best practices. Kudos to Sarah. Willamina made the list because of the extensive work she's done in SEL at the elementary level. So they are coming in to put together a report and create a resource page basically on ODE for other districts, so that they're not reinventing the wheel if there's something out there that a school has developed, that we can make it shareable and share models that other districts can replicate. I mentioned our district leadership team met tonight. We are just starting the tribal consultation process with Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde staff. We will meet again in May to really firm up what that process will look like, and setting a calendar for meetings in the future. That is it for me. Any questions?
No, thank you, Kelly. Alrighty, next up, Sarah with the elementary school report.
Okay. You're good. Okay. It was a really slow month for professional development, but a busy month for other things like meetings. We did have one professional development opportunity for some of our new hires in special education. They received their, well, actually they're still doing it because it's a long one, a nonviolent crisis intervention training. So kind of how to de-escalate students with nonviolent crisis strategies. And then we also had our SPED staff attend a confidentiality training in regards to special education and student records. For our student improvement plan, 6 of us attended the annual RTI conference, which is amazingly helpful and hasn't been offered since COVID. So 900 of us close educators gathered in Eugene last week and received some training for RTI, which is great because we aren't part of a cadre, we're kind of doing it ourselves. So really just learning what our next steps are, how we can improve the practices that we've already put in place. But in addition to that, the RTI team met to review 3 different math curriculum pilots. So the past 6 months, they've been, a teacher at each grade level has been piloting a different math curriculum, following the same standards, but then getting together and talking about how it went and comparing the data. So they all gathered to share their feedback. We also piloted a universal screener and intervention materials. And so based on their recommendations, we're kind of gathering quotes and creating a proposal for adoption for the next year. Our students participated in the NAEP assessment, which is a national summative assessment that's given to selected schools for grades 4 through 8. Actually, no, sorry, that's a lie, grades 4 and 8. We usually get selected based on our Native American population. And the students are selected for either reading or math. Each test lasts about an hour. They come in, they proctor it. And then the results are not published individually or by the school, but more as a national base, just to kind of see what the temperature is nationally for kids. It was a heavy month for grants. We received a Native American mini grant through the ESD for $4,000, and this is to enhance the implementation of Senate Bill 13 and culture projects. Some funds that we've added to it, well, the funds will help with naming pods, which we plan on doing next year, adding to our Native American role model project, Native American club funds, TAP attendance incentives for the remainder of the year, and then helping with Senate Bill 13 in classrooms. Emily Rawls, our Title VI director, successfully wrote a grant for roughly $47,000. She has established that the funds will be used for hosting guest artists, canvas materials, drum, moccasin, ribbon skirt making and beading, and art supplies for culture projects. And then we also were successful in our early literacy initiative grant. This will provide a classified staff member for 2 years that goes to support high dosage tutoring in grades K and 2 and really focuses on that early intervention and getting their kids up to grade level before they hit 3rd grade. And then on a cute note, our 4th graders participated in the If I Were Mayor contest through the city, and then Mayor Isla Skyberg and City Manager Bridget Manili came up and spoke to Mr. Overholser's class about the posters they submitted and talked about their ideas, which is really awesome. I wish I had added more to it at the time. It was kind of a last minute thing just because I needed to get my board reported, but there is more information. They wrote out a bunch of the kids' ideas, like adding a dog park, and then Mayor Skyberg was able to say, okay, here's some of the things that are on our list that we're going to try and do, and so it was really a neat idea sharing time with them. Upcoming events, we had our spring pictures and our kindergarten graduation pictures today. On Friday, we have our TAP site visit. Donuts with Dudes is coming up on Monday the 22nd. If you have never attended Donuts with Dudes, please consider doing so, just for your own personal enjoyment. The cafeteria gets packed at about 7:30 with kids and their dudes enjoying a donut and coffee, and it is the cutest thing, and the cafeteria is absolutely packed. So I am inviting you, even though there's not an invitation on here, please come. And then kindergarten registration will be held countywide on the 25th. I believe we're going from 3:30 to 5:30. And our enrollment is staying strong at 356. That is it. Questions? Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Looks like we have Jamie, middle school and high school.
It feels like it's been a busy month, and when looking ahead, doing the calendar was like, holy Moses, we have a lot of things coming up. But so professional learning wise, we did do our last swell training that we had was on how to identify language needs of a multilingual learner, and the focus was on vocabulary and academic language. And then the 7th grade PLC presented their 3-week advisory module on internet safety. So the students for the next 3 Mondays will get lessons around digital citizenship, rewarding relationships, and like phishing and catfishing and things like that. So just to understand, just to raise their awareness of their digital footprint and what that means. And then staff and student recognition. This is the part that's like awesome to me, is just like seeing the staff. Like last year we did a strengths finder, and we really tried to like tap into people's strengths and like how they can use their strengths to make us better, because obviously like we need everybody doing it. And so I'm just finding more and more people are starting to just take that little leap of faith or try something different, or but we just have a lot of really great things happening, and they're happening like simultaneously and with everyone. But Scott Nelson and the high school leadership students put on their carnival. It was the first time I got to go because I had surgery last year, and the year before I had a conflict. So it was just really fun to get to see families come together. I'd heard about it, and it was neat to walk through and see. I got to help serve dinner, which I like because you kind of see everybody, when they come through. But it was really cool, and I did get thrown in jail. So, but only for 5 minutes, so that wasn't so bad. Kaylee Kidd and Rachel Bevins, they through our Monday PLCs, they planned and organized a very successful college and career fair for our middle school and high school students. And just like, I can't even say how awesome it was, but over 40 vendors were present, and very like a wide range of representatives of different careers, community colleges, four-year universities. I was just like humbled by how many people gave up an entire day pretty much of their career or life or whatever, and college, and Carly came. I know.
It's funny, I gave away a lot of stickers, like
Yes.
psychology stickers, and most of the adults took one too.
I know. No, they were rad. I know, they were awesome. And we had multiple alumni. They made buttons for the people who were alumni. And then I just think like from 6th through 12th grade, the students were engaged at like different level, like engaged, but it looked different each session. But it was really impressive. They had this little booklet, and they had a chance to ask some questions and go through. But it was kind of neat to see how they sort of started to gravitate towards things that they were interested in, and some kids actually, made great connections for. Some of our older kids make great connections for potential jobs. We had a local person that was hiring for summer work, and some kids were signing up for community college. It was just, it was pretty cool. It was awesome. And then there was also a group of probably 12 to 15, maybe 8 to 10 to 12 high school students that served as like the ambassadors for the day. They helped set up the lunch, they helped clean up, they helped set up in the morning. They got here really early on Monday when they didn't have to, and set up, cleaned up, greeted people. They made goodie bags for everyone. It was just, it was just a really, for the first time, I thought it was a really successful event. And then when I was leaving that night, I had a student say to me, "That was amazing. We need more things like that. Like, that is awesome." And so it just really inspired me to see, like, just when you get multiple people together and they find something that they're interested in or passionate about, they can really pull something off. That was great. And then interestingly, I mean, we had this planned like way a long time ago, but Kaylee and Treon and Rachel also took the junior class to Western Oregon University, like, I think it was either the same week or the week after, but to the Polk County Youth Conference. And so we had a representative come in before Christmas and then after Christmas, but they hyped it up, and then the kids got to choose a career path that they had represented at Western, and then the students got to go to 3 sessions in that area, in that career area. And one of them was hands-on, and then the others were just hearing from different people in that profession. So I think that was also, it just kind of went hand in hand, but it was great. David, Anise, and Brenda Shank took our FFA students to state convention, and they performed very well. It was a very positive experience. And then TJ Wilson, CTE, took students to the Portland Roadster Show, and we had a student, Cameron Whiting, who won an award for her high school entry. She got $250, and then they also donated $500 to the club because she had won for her school. So that was really neat. And then the students were able to show their scout and food trailer. But Eric Estrada, if those of you who are of age who remember Chips, right? He visited and signed the ever famous board there with his. I know it's kind of funny.
Our business manager might have a little crush on her.
I know.
She was there.
Didn't we all at some point? And then Tiffany Sagmiller and Chris Schertz, they took our the Smile students, the high school Smile students, on a field trip. They were able to engage in some STEM activities and spend the night at a college campus. Sue Stansberry for just another great edition of her middle school ink newspaper, and that's something that she's just doing on her own with students, sometimes possibly through Mondays, possibly through her class, but they work together to pull that off. And then Michelle Anderson on one of her Bulldog hours has been doing the First Steps Health Club for students, and they actually took a field trip to the mental hospital last month, but she also got her students certified in CPR, so that was great. And then Kathleen Coffey as well, and her middle school leadership students, they're just working to plan some really great things for students, and I appreciate not maybe so much what the outcome is, but the process, like that they're engaging in, like, how can I make this better? What can we offer a service to people? I just love seeing kids' ideas and hearing them propose things. And then just overall, we participated through the Willamina ESD in the Youth Truth Survey, which went out to our staff, our students, and parents. And I just got the email. We got some results. So we haven't even looked at them yet, but it'll just give us some information about things that are working well, things that we can improve upon, just more data to look at. And this is our 9th grade on track. We met, was it last week? Yes. And we reviewed our freshmen. We made some lists of interventions, and the last week, we've been really trying to connect with them to help them finish out that at the end of the year, because that is a huge piece of data about them earning their credits their freshman year. So we're really trying hard to support them and help them not give up. And then graduation, 8th grade promotion. Today we did the nominations for our year-end merit awards and our boy and girl of the year and senior awards. So we're much more on top of it this year than last year. So we're going through a process that feels good but it's also weird to be doing these things and realizing how close that's coming. And then through our behavioral coaches, we met last week. We're creating a Google form for our staff to be able to respond to areas that they would like more professional learning, and that kind of came out of one of our leadership team meetings that we had. And then master scheduling, we are now moving into the forecasting process. So we have some, based off of the departmental meetings that we had, we have a few new classes that we're going to float to students, and then we'll be doing forecasting probably next week. That'll give us good information to build a schedule, and then the students will be able to schedule before the year is out. And like I said, there's just a whole lot of activities coming up, but all good things. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
I do, but I don't think it's the right time to ask, so I'll hold off.
Okay.
I do too.
I need to ask some other individuals questions about it first.
Perfect.
Yeah, I've got questions too, but I don't know if it's the time or place.
Okay.
It's more about student stuff. But if you want to talk afterwards,
Sure. Yeah.
quick.
You bet.
Thank you, Jamie. Next on our agenda is our tribal report.
It's gonna be me, and then possibly Justine will add in. But I'm gonna speak mostly to our events that we've been collaborating on, and then just our regular collaborations that happen on a bi-monthly basis as well. And so we were really excited to be involved with the College and Career Fair as well. We had a representative from our adult education department as well as the youth education program, and so that was really spectacular to be a part of and get to reach some of our tribal students and then also seniors with the applying for the community college as well. We were also grateful to be able to host the WSD superintendent candidates out at CTGR. That was a really valuable experience, and getting to meet with all of them and spend time was a really neat process. We recently had our spring carnival, which is just a fun event for our families to come and get to experience games and book giveaways, and that's held by our education-wide department. And that was really neat to see some WSD staff and their families out there as well. And so that just recently happened last week. I also sit on the 9th grade on track meetings with Jamie and the 9th grade staff, and that's very valuable to see where our students are and what is going on in their core classes, and really getting that personal feedback from teachers is really, really important and valuable as well. We also sent one of our academic coaches from the youth education program to the ORTII conference, and our literacy specialist also attended that. So I'm excited to hear that so many service staff was there too, and that will kind of align what we're doing here as well. We've been working with Jamie to set up our class schedule for our 2 teachers that come and offer classes for 9th through 12th grade, and so we're getting their class schedule kind of shored up for next year, and they're very excited to be moving into the building and into the I guess was it the freshman wing or kind of
Yeah.
that's what
I don't know.
I think,
It hasn't
into the high school, out of the modular into the high school. So that's an exciting change. And then I'll be attending the TAP site visit this Friday and getting to participate with Rebecca Arredondo and the ODE rep. And so looking forward to that. And then next week, we are also excited to host the attendance team from WSD out at CTGR. They're doing a game night. So that's going to be great. Yeah. That is all I have to present. Would you like to add anything, or do you have any questions for me?
I have questions, but I'm gonna save it for audience time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Next on our agenda is our student report.
Okay, so starting from Mr. Neese, our annual FFA banquet will be on May 11th in the evening. The annual pet sale will be May 10th p.m. Makes sense. And May 11th. Oh, actually, May 10th p.m. May 11th a.m. Conductive chapter meeting team got 3rd at sectionals. The Cree team got 3rd at sectionals. Rebecca Neese. District convention scrapbook 3rd place Lily Crow. Second team convention. Or state convention, 2nd place talent, Gracie Dunn, and then 1st place informative poster, Paige Baker. And then Gracie Dunn and McKaylee Floyd both received their state degrees this year. And then the rest of the report, he didn't get his in on time, so it wasn't added in on the full report. Leadership, the carnival was a good success. We had many people out, and it was a good fundraiser. And then we are currently working on our preparations for Dornbecker Week. In track and field for Ms. Hughes, currently we have 8 athletes ranked in the top 5 of two-way state ranking in their events. They will travel to Sherwood Invitational and Oregon Relays the next 2 weekends for some high-level competitions. They will host their next home meet on April 25th with 6 teams attending. Athletes will also start coaching youth track next week, accumulating run, jump, throw meet for ages 12 and under in May. Baseball, we are currently 1-5 and improving daily. We play tomorrow at Klatskanai, and we have doubleheader at home at Friday beginning at 3 p.m. also against Klatskanai. Softball is currently 6-2 and ranked 7th in the state, and they play tomorrow at Klatskanai, and we'll have a doubleheader at home against Klatskanai beginning at 3. From yearbook from Miss Overfield. The yearbook staff is very excited to announce they will have their first May delivery as far as anyone can remember. In addition, we have tripled our sales with over 51% of high school purchasing their book in advance, and over 71% of students are featured at least 3 times in the book. Also, the 2024 yearbook staff earned a silver level of the National Yearbook Program of Excellence. Currently, we are finishing up a spring supplement that will feature our recent school carnivals, spring sports, Dornbecker Week, and our first place since COVID-19. Oh, first place, yeah. Our senior superlatives and valedictorians and salutatorians, we will be hosting our first yearbook signing party and distribution on Tuesday, May 28th. That is it for me.
When was that kids track meet in May?
To say.
should be
I don't think he's.
no date.
No date yet.
No date yet.
But it starts next week.
It was really fun last year.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Ryan. Now, next on the agenda is time for audience time. Please understand, citizen input on non-agenda items shall be limited to 3 minutes per person, 30 minutes per item. Is there anyone in the audience who has something they would like to bring before the board that is not currently on our agenda?
I do, and I think there maybe was a chance for me to ask questions earlier. The Indian policies and procedures, where are those located? Are these policies for the district, policies for the board?
They are online. If you go to our website, you go to documents, you'll see WSD policies online, and it will give you all the sections. They would be in section K.
And so they're district-wide policies?
Yes.
And this, I guess I'm asking because I've never seen these before, and I also don't. I mean, in conversations right now happening around meaningful consultation, I feel like the opportunity to like take a look at these and maybe update a little bit or kind of assess if we're following it the way it's laid out in here.
Yeah.
So how often are they reviewed?
Well, so OSBA is kind of, they craft all of our policies and then they send us, a couple of years ago, we did a total policy review. And so their legal team vets all school policies. They send them to us in a format where we can go in and like pick different options so that it meets the letter of the law, but it can also allow you to customize them, to extent. But for the most part, they're language that comes from Oregon School Boards Association.
So because this says these were submitted for the 2019 impact aid. These policies were submitted with for the 2019 impact aid dollars.
They were adopted, the last adoption was 2018. So impact aid doesn't review every single year.
Mhm.
This year they are reviewing, we're under a monitoring process. So I had spoken to Carrie about
Yeah.
that because I was like, and I'm new with impact aid as well. But I said we should at least be getting this looked at and adopted at least with minimum every 5 years, if not more. So, but they're going to send us through that whole process through the impact aid grant
This year.
And
Yeah.
OSB will send updated language.
We will actually, because we'll end up having to do a consult with the tribe and everything on those policies and making sure that we're going in depth with how we're doing everything. And then recommendations to change those policies can be made. Then we send that to OSBA. They send it through their department. It gets sent through your tribal, however you guys handle your policies and stuff out there. So it's quite a process. It takes several months for everybody to kind of do it. And then once it's okayed by the tribal council or whoever does it out there, then they submit it to us, and then we can submit it to OSBA, and then we bring it in for adoption as a school board policy.
Yeah. And I think that, like, in particular, the Indian policies, they probably come from like a national school boards association. So because even our impact aid, the entity is the Gov, I always say the G5.
Yeah.
But it's not like our state, not ODE, that we do that through.
Mhm.
And so I do think that OSBA gets the language for these because they're not policies that would be in every single school district. So they get their language, I think, from the national level. Whereas like Oregon has adopted a tribal consultation policy that doesn't necessarily, they don't necessarily, what's a good word, complement each other.
Yeah.
Like one kind of serves the purpose of this, and so they don't necessarily, state and federal don't always talk when they adopt protocols and policies. So
I just think that in reviewing it, even calling it the Indian policies and procedures seems very outdated, and so it could be updated.
for sure.
having an opportunity to kind of talk through whether everything in here is being met, and if it's not, why not? And
Yeah.
if it's not,
Or is it met through a different,
one, how is it
platform,
met?
yes.
Should it doesn't need to be outlined differently
Yes.
to make sure that it's feasible.
right,
And then maybe some of it's not relevant
right,
or can be wrapped into other processes. But that's in reviewing it, my biggest concern is the language that's used. Indian
yeah.
policies and
Yeah.
procedures seems really old.
Hmm.
But
And
also.
I would say that it probably has not, the language hasn't been updated at the federal level in a long, long time. And I would also say that at the federal level, they broad brush it and don't necessarily have a perspective of how each state does something a little bit different in their process.
And I just opportunity for
Yeah.
maybe review on our part, in consultation with everybody and talking about how this could look in a way that
Right.
responds to what the purpose that it serves.
And it would be something I would probably I would have to reach out to OSBA because they vet all of our policies before we even get them. Like April has a list right now of all the ones that we have
Yeah,
to
it's actually
do
2 pages this time of
for,
all of the new recommendations
update.
we have to give.
So they kind of send us a monthly list of like, oh, delete this one, change the language in this one. So even though we did an all policy review in 2018, different ones get reviewed and replaced on an annual basis. Certain sections based on legislation and new law.
Yeah, I mean, if you read through it pretty thoroughly, it's pretty hefty.
Oh, it is.
And what's
It-
required for it, and I don't think that that's all been met. And I don't necessarily think it needs to be at all points, but there are points that I think that I wasn't aware that this existed in here, so having the ability to kind of walk through that and create a process that makes sense to make sure that needs are being met would be valuable, I think.
It is, it's a hefty one.
Yeah, and I think also partnering that with the ability to give some information about impact aid overall,
Right.
I think would be valuable too.
Yeah, well, and I can, so impact aid, I mean, truly, if you just think of the word, it's, the purpose and why schools get it is because it's one of usually 3 things. You either have a reservation within your district, you have a federal correctional facility, or you have a military base. And all 3 of those things are exempt from usually property taxes. And so the federal government gives districts impact aid because you don't collect local revenue from those property tax dollars. So it's to offset the amount of money you're not getting in local revenue is the impact.
And it's a lump sum of money, and this goes
Yeah,
into a
it
bigger
comes in increments, right.
and this is a bigger conversation, and that Angie kind of wants to talk through those funding and talk through what funding from services that we're bringing into the school, but also impact aid dollars that are coming in and different tribally specific funding.
Well,
streams
it's
that come in.
allowable to just put into your general fund like you would your property tax money, your local revenue, and typically ours has always just gone into to fund staff.
Those are the questions I had.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda will be our board meeting calendar, 24-25.
So this is just for a discussion item, whereas we're preparing the dates for the next school year, a couple of things have come up. We're just following the same format as if we were to have our meetings every second Monday of the month. Our new superintendent will be coming in July, but that first meeting that would normally be around July 8th is gonna be very difficult for him to make as he's gonna be in the process of getting here and settling in and stuff. So I've been in contact with him a little bit about that, and suggestion is to change it to the 15th, 22nd, or 29th. Keep in mind that we also are gonna have a June budget board meeting, June 26th, so our board meeting is later in June. So my suggestion was that we try to do it on the 22nd or the 29th, just, that'll just give us a month, you know, in between board meetings. If you guys kind of give me a suggestion, I'll kind of set the board calendar and then we can,
Yeah,
the 22nd or the,
No, June.
June 20th.
oh, June 26th will be our budget hearing, yeah. That's okay. And then November 11th is a holiday, and so we could either change that we can keep it to that evening but there'll be no students and staff at school that day, or we could change it to that Tuesday or the following Monday, which is the 18th,
I probably won't be here.
on either of those dates.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my 2-week vacation time.
What, does anyone else have a preference on those dates? Would you want to change it to a Tuesday or just go to a Monday? The Monday, the 18th.
Monday the 18th.
And then in July's meeting, or with the 22nd or 29th, is that a conflict for anyone?
I think we should probably go 22nd, just to get a little bit of separation between
Yeah, I think so too.
the other meetings.
All right, so I will get this all prepared and stuff ready for adoption by next week.
You want all of our calendar books back so you can fill them in for us?
If you need me to, David, I'd be happy to do that.
I would appreciate that.
I think I might need to do that.
I can do it.
Budget committee meeting. Okay, so coming up in our next meeting would be adopting the calendar, and our first budget committee meeting is Monday, April 29th.
Yep, 6 p.m. here in the library.
6 p.m. here in the library. Alrighty. There being nothing further on the agenda to discuss, the meeting of the Willamina School Board is hereby adjourned.